हेलो फ्रेंड्स, केजी क्लासेस में आपका स्वागत है। आज हम आपको विलियम हेजलेट की लाइफ साइकिल के बारे में बताएंगे। लाइफ ऑफ विलियम हेजलेट 1778 to 1830। हेजलेट was born at Maidstone in 1778. His mother, Grace Loftus, belonged to Bisbeck. Hazlitt was the third among those brothers and sisters who survived. His family had come from Ireland and soon after Hazlitt's birth returned thither. There Hazlitt's father fell into great disfavor of supporting the American in the War of Independence, and he had unlimitedly to leave for the newly emerging country of the United States. In 1793, Hazlitt entered New College, Hackney, a Unitarian academy. This was a charitable institution for the sons of dissenting preachers. Here he had a good grounding in philosophy, modern language and classics. He also discovered the theatre and was fascinated by the acting of Mrs. Siddons. England's declaration of war against France the year Hazlitt went to New College gave Hazlitt a shock somewhat akin to what Wordsworth had felt over it. In 1796, his father painfully withdrew him from New College, Hackney, and Hazlitt returned to Wien in 1802-3 and brother John's direction. He studied art and spent 4 rapturous months in Paris, copying the great master. On his returns, he wandered on foot about England for 3 years, painting portraits at 5 guineas each. Hazlitt first married in 1808 Sarah Stoddard, a friend of Mary Lamb, and settled in his wife's house at Winterloss, where he was visited by the Lambs, but they soon realized that they were quite disunited to each other. By 1818, they started living separately, and in the year 1823, they agreed for a divorce. Hazlitt's second marriage with a widow, Mrs. Bridgewater, also could not prove lasting. He married Mrs. Bridgewater in 1824 and spent a leisurely honeymoon in traveling through France, Switzerland, and Italy, combining business with pleasures by recording his impressions in some very readable sketches contributed to the Morning Chronicle in 1824 and collected in a volume in 1828. The second marriage, also like the first, proved temporary affairs. There were many reasons for Hazlitt's unpopularity, which in turn affected the sale of his books. One of these was a violence of his political view, another was his strange insensitiveness to others' feelings. Still another was his truculent Irish temper. He was also careless in money matters and therefore constantly in debt. His marriage also did not turn out well. He separated from his wife and the couple agreed to go in for a Scottish divorce. Hazlitt egged out the necessary period of residence by delivering a series of lectures in Glasgow. Shortly afterwards, there was a disaster of his own arrest for debt and the failure of his publisher. According to Hollingworth, what was worse than all these was Hazlitt's passion for his landlord daughter. She She, like a sensible girl, rejected his advances. Consequently, she became in his mind a deceitful fairy, not content with varying his friend with his laments. He gave the world a full account of his romance in Liber Amoris, a book which brought upon him ridicule and still greater unpopularity. He died at the age of 52, worn out by pain and fatigue, emotional stress and mental strain on September 1830, on the eve of the publisher of the last two volumes of the biological effect, which he hoped would be a covenant between him and his readers forever. What which most readers ignore all the same, on the eve too of a further movement in the history of the enfranchisement of man. He had claimed to have begun his life with the dawn of new era. Its sun was setting as his life passed within a week and a day of his death. The examiners declared Napoleon and his biographer both belonged to an era which had passed away. Catherine MacDonald MacLean. Thanks.